Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today we're going to make this cute little Lawn Fawn Beary Happy Holidays card using these cute little bears that are skating across the ice. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is take some Elizabeth Craft soft finish cardstock in the 100-pound weight, and we're going to cut it down to 5.5 by 8.5. And we're going to take our outside in stitched scalloped rectangle stackables. We're going to take the two largest ones. We're going to go ahead and position those, centering that smaller one inside the larger one. Make sure you have enough even edges all the way around. And then we're going to run that through the die cut machine. And here I'm using the Spellbinder Platinum 6 machine. And you can see when we do that, we get a beautiful scalloped frame and then the scalloped insert. So now we're going to take the watercolor petite paper pack, the watercolor wishes, and we're going to select one of the blues because this will be our sky. We're going to go ahead and run that through. We're running through that smaller stitched scalloped rectangle that we used before. And now you'll see that will become the sky. But what we want to do is take that white piece that we cut out earlier, and we're going to go ahead and make that into a hillside border. So we're going to take the stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn. We're going to place that on the white cardstock, but we also want to create the stitched trails. So we want that double loop stitch trail. This does not cut, it just creates a stitched design on the paper. And that's going to be the design of our bear skating across the ice. So now that we have that all set, we're going to just take that and set that aside for right now. You see that it fits right over that blue sky, and that'll set right inside that frame. So we're going to take the Beary Happy Holidays stamp set, and we're going to take the cute little bears, the front and back of the bear, and the matching coordinating dies. And we're going to go ahead and use the VersaFine Onyx Black ink pad with the 140-pound cold pressed Canson watercolor paper, and we're going to ink up those little bears and stamp them on this nice heavyweight cardstock. I'm just taping those down with a little bit of washi tape to hold them in place while we run them through this machine. Now I'm going to take that Winter Village stamp set, and what I want to do is use the two trees, the larger one and the smaller one. And then I'm going to use the coordinating dies. So I'm going to go ahead and place those on my acrylic block, and using my black ink, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp a couple of those. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need, but I'm going to stamp two large ones and two small ones. I'm going to run that through my machine. And you can see how cute these are. I mean, these are just adorable. I love that you get the back as well. So now I've got these all stamped. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Knit Picky paper pack, and I'm going to use the two knit patterns, the smaller red knit and the smaller green knit pattern. And I'm going to stamp the trees on the green, two sets of those. And then for the little bear, all I need is that scarf portion. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it, just making sure I get the scarf area there. And I'm going to have to do the front and the back. Same thing here, just the scarf. Now what I want to do is cut these out, and I'm following the black line. And I'm just going to trim those out all the way around following that line. Now I've already die cut the trees out of the white cardstock. I stamped them and die cut them out of white cardstock. And now I'm going to layer on our paper piece the green paper over the top. I'm using the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. I'm just applying glue to each of these little trees, and then I'm going to position that right onto the die cut version of it. So I'll still have that little white border, but I don't have to color them in. And this goes pretty quickly. You can see that now I have that beautiful white border around the edges. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the bear's scarf. I'm going to trim the scarf out of the red paper here, just following the black lines. And I find the paper piecing to be very relaxing. And it's a nice way to add color that matches everything else that you're working with sometimes too. If you want to match all your papers, this is a good way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish trimming that up. So now I'm going to take N15, my Tombow marker, which is the black, and I'm just going to go around the edges of those scarves just to get rid of that white at border edge. And I'm going to take my adhesive again, put the glue on there, and then attach those to my little bears. And they'll actually then look like they're wearing little knit scarves. You can see how cute that is. Just going to put that block there while it dries. And those are all set. So now I'm going to take my N00, which is the blender marker, and 761, which is a light pink. And then I'm going to go over it with the blender again and just blend that out a little bit for his cheeks. Now for the body, I'm just using N95, which is a very light gray color. And it is a little difficult to see on camera, but I just wanted to give a little shadow. I want it to be a white bear. And so I'm putting a little of the light gray around the edges, and then I'm pulling it in with the blender pen. Just kind of blending that out. Needs very little blending because the color is so light. If you want, you could do a brown bear, or you could do this one a little bit darker, but I was going for a white bear with just a little bit of a shadow around him. And now I'm going to do the back side as well. A little pink for the ears there. And then I'm going to do the back of the bear as well. And like I said, this goes really quickly. Very little effort here. And again, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but we've got a little bit of shading on there. Now I'm going to take the Jelly Roll pen in black. And I thought I would color the skates in the black. I wanted a nice jet black color. Now, one thing I will say is be careful when using this black Jelly Roll pen because it stays very wet. I did have a little incident where I smudged it, so I had to redo one of the bears off camera. So once you've finished coloring it in, I suggest taking your heat gun and just giving it a little zap because you'll see it when I lift it to the camera here in a minute that it gets very saturated. It does look glossy, but it won't dry glossy. And I am putting a little bit on his nose as well, just to give that a little more definition. So you can see there how wet it is. So again, I took my heat gun briefly and just dried those off. And now that those are all set, I'm going to go back to the layout for the card here. So that's kind of what we have so far. And we're going to have the two bears skating and then circling and skating backwards. And then I'm going to add my little trees. I'm just kind of laying this out just to see what it looks like. I kind of like to do that sometimes just to get an idea if I have all the pieces that I need, that everything's kind of where I want it to be. And that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to go ahead and take the large wreath die set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to cut out of those same two red and green papers the foliage and then the bow. And I only ended up using 4 of the little ferns, but I cut out 6. And then I'm going to take my Lucky Clover Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to apply it a little bit to the tips of these little ferns, just to give them a little bit of definition and take some of that white edge away. Nothing fussy here, just really quickly. And then I'm going to take the bow, and I'm going to come in with my Distress Oxide Candied Apple. And I'm going to go around that bow just the same kind of way with the applicator here, just kind of giving it the edges a little bit of color. Gives it a little shadow. And you can see that there a little bit better. I'm going to do the same thing for this portion. Now for the bow, I like to roll the bow portion around a pencil or some rounded object, a pen, just to kind of round it off, because sometimes if you try to fold those 2 tabs in, it actually creases the paper. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Nouveau glue, and I'm going to bring in one side. I'm grabbing my tweezers here. Just going to bring in one side, and then these tweezers clamp something down, so when you release, it clamps it together. And you can just let that sit for a second or 2 and dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the other side, for the other side, and then I'm going to bring that side in and clamp it again here. You can hold it for a second or 2 just to make sure it's in place. And then what I like about this bow is it's not a separate rectangular piece to wrap around the center of the bow. It's attached. So all you have to do is grab that tab and wrap it around the bow just like you see there, and then put a little dab of glue on the back. And it's so much easier than dealing with all those little tiny pieces. Then I'm just going to clamp it here one more time. And you see how cute that's going to be. I'm just trying to fluff up those sides just a little bit there. And now I'm going to take a little bit more glue and put it on the base, and then attach those 2 together and let that dry. And I just think that is adorable. So now I want to go ahead and take my card, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 now. So it'll be an A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just using the bone folder just to press the crease in there. And now I'm going to just kind of position these things here. So the frame, I'm going to put the frame down first. And what I want to do is use a little bit of photo mounting tape here, just to pop that up. So I remove the backing and attach that to the card. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the back of that blue piece of paper, and just use that, align it up with that and set it in place. And then I'm just using the bone folder to make sure I got it all tucked in and down nice and secure. I'm coming in with my ATG gun here and adding some double stick tape and positioning that snowy border, well, the icy border down in place. So now my little bears are ready and my little trees are ready. And what I'm going to do now, we kind of know what the layout was going to look like, so I'm going to go ahead and attach those. Just checking every once in a while to make sure that I still have everything where I want it to be. Because I do want the bear to look like he's skating up and looping around and skating and looping again. So I want his feet to be near those little loops. And then I'm putting some photo mounting tape on the back and popping those up. That'll give them a nice little shadow and give them a little bit of dimension there. Now I'm going to place my ferns on. I ended up using 4, and I'm just putting 2 on each side. I did play around with this off camera. Couldn't decide if I wanted them on the top or the bottom, but I ended up liking it like this. So I'm just making sure everything's stuck in place there. Now I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, which is like a glitter pen, and I'm just going to put a little glitter on his scarf, on the little trees there, just to give it a little sparkle because we have to have sparkle. And then I'm also going to put a little on that path that he's skating there. So I'm going to take that white Jelly Roll pen and add a little snow to the tops of each of these little trees here. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at my website, pinkwhisperdesigns.com. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.